in a little bit more on our first match of the day. Circular Spheres go up against Antic, and coming into this league, I would have touted this as a really competitive match. I would have thought that this was going to be incredibly close, but unfortunately, Circular Spheres, have just far too many blemishes on their name so far in the BO1s. Do we write that off coming into the last day?
I think the statement of the game still being competitive probably holds true, but maybe not for the most positive of reasons, because both Circular Spheres and Antics have been probably the peak of the inconsistent, consistent teams, in the sense that Circular Spheres started off really poor, 0-14, round diff, then they brought it back, unfortunately losing to Man Alafo last week. Antic have also been the coin flip team, where they keep winning, losing, winning, losing, winning, losing. They've won last play day, so if the trend continues, today could be a struggle for them. But for Circular Spheres more specifically, looking at this roster, big players have stepped up on occasion. I'm surprised Gooft isn't leading in KD. He has had some enormous performances last couple of weeks. In fact, I believe it was 2 play days ago, he got the all-time world record CGG rating in a match where he didn't die and absolutely stacked on kills. And he's been a big reason why they've been able to form this mini comeback throughout the stage. So keeping an eye on him specifically in this matchup to perform well for CS.
It's a roster that well and truly should be doing damage, Jake, but maybe just stumbling and falling a little bit. But today is utterly crucial for them. I mean, you want to talk about games that really matter. They're on 7 points, -7 round differential, the same as 6 targets. They have to get points here. Doesn't make a difference how they do it. They've got to get points.
Yeah, they do. I agree.
Thank you. Moving on. Let's go ahead and start talking about this. God, sometimes I love working with you, and sometimes it's like taking teeth out of a bloody baby. I tell you what. Antic Esports, the roster that coming into the stage, everyone expected to be finishing second, or at the very least vying for that place. They still technically have their nose in that position. They could edge out just by the end of the night, but we thought it'd be pretty much wrapped up by now.
Yeah, and look, I'll give you something a little extra here. I'd love to really get analytical and sort of really approach this team on a very complex and analytical approach. Unfortunately, I can't do that, so I'm not going to be able to be accustomed to do that. I'm not equipped. No. So I'm just going to basically say these guys are up and down and we don't know what we're going to get from them. Maybe Guz, though, being the superstar analyst that he is, can take these numbers and sort of ascertain as to why Antic are going to win this game.
Jeez. I'll tell you what, you've heard of a free ride to an American scholarship, you know, to go to college? Jackson did a free ride tonight. I'll tell you what, Guz. What are your thoughts about Antic?
I just love getting driven over the bus of the Jake Center.
Driven over the bus?
Being driven over by the bus.
Oh, right. Okay.
I'm not driving the bus. You are. Yeah, I think overall, when you look at the likeness of both teams, Antic have better defined roles and are more well-rounded. However, Circular Spheres throughout the stage have shown that their star players can outperform the quote-unquote star players of Antic. We haven't had, at least unless my memory is faulting me, right, big matches from like a Killerman, whereas last year he could step up, or maybe even a Two Hearts have a big game. Logic has struggled at times as well, whereas Circular Spheres, at least over the last couple of weeks, have shown their ability to get goofed in playmaking positions. He'll pop off and be a big win condition, much like a lot of other teams in OCE. So for Antic, they can lean into being more well-rounded. However, they need to be on point. Otherwise, Circular Spheres could overrun them in this game.
Didn't you play some of these guys last night in ranked?
Yeah, I had.
How'd that go?
I think it was Frixel. Definitely Killerman.
Yeah.
And then I had. then they had Brendo, Sage, and Wet.
Yeah.
We got 2 rounds, and I think Silex actually top fragged in that game.
You got 2 rounds.
Yeah, we got 2 rounds.
That's actually pretty good.
And our team had already given up in the prep phase. Like, oh, who are these guys? Are these guys cheaters? And I'm trying to explain to them. I'm like, these are probably the 5 best players in the region. But
yeah, you got 2. How'd you play?
Okay.
Yeah, we can move on from individual. we can move on from that individual performance. I think it's interesting, just very quickly on that conversation. Killerman had an okay night last play day, but it was actually Juicy who has been the star player for Antic so far this stage. With I think the first 2 opening play days were absolutely absurd. But we'll start to hone in a little bit more on the individual players, guys. We're just not even. Me and you will just do this desk. Let's piss Xenox off.
I wanted to add though, because you mentioned Juicy, and rightfully so. I feel bad for the guy, because every team he goes to, he always has to be the one that carries when he shouldn't really be. He's hard anchor. He's on site. He needs to just have a good digital run where he can just sit on site, do nothing for a year, have his 3-time MVP, do everything. When is Juicy going to get that to happen?
Oh, Digital's still getting side swipes after all these years. It's been 2 years and he's still just, every now and then, someone just likes to take a little swipe at him. Let's go ahead and have a look at Tuhan and Gooft. Gooft has been absolutely phenomenal this stage, guys. A couple of huge performances. You've already put it out there, one of the highest ratings we've ever seen in an individual match. Tuhan, however, hasn't had the same highlight stage, but is still consistent.
I mean, the numbers suggest that he is still chipping away quite nicely, the 1.26 KD. He's also been playing that ace quite a bit as well, so bringing flexibility with the hard breach roll as well. But this graphic is really a continuation from the discussion that I was having on that team head-to-head, which is if Circular Spheres and Goose specifically has another big standout game, can Antic match that? Other teams have struggled to, and Antic, I am a little bit concerned if it's not on their night that they won't either. So Tuhan needs to have a big game, and if it's not him, then we're going to be looking at the likes of your Killermans, of your Logics, who can also do that, but haven't been able to do so consistently throughout the stage.
I mean, it's anyone's game. It's anyone's game tonight. I mean, that's the way we can really shape this, frame it, however you want to call it. It's a literal 50-50. We can sit here and say maybe if both teams were to play at their best tonight, would you give Antic the edge? Yeah, just barely. But, you know, as Chef Jeff likes to always point out, we keep saying Antic are a good team. Their results aren't exactly saying they're a good team. So they've got to keep proving it. Massive game. I'll be honest, Antic need to win this. And if that does happen, Circular Spheres, well, they'll be going down the drain.
They certainly will be. And just to, I'm very quickly going to put one more point out there about this conversation with Antic, because coming into this stage, we really did put them up on a pedestal, okay? You need to understand why. They have 3 of the top 10 performers from last stage on the same team now. And just outside of that is Frixel. So you're really looking at one of the greatest teams individually that was put together last minute. They just haven't been hitting the mark the way we had hoped for. But look, this is the last day to do it, right? You need to be putting up some performances now. Let's go ahead and have a look at the map vetoes and figure out if this will skew the conversation at all. It's a best of 1, so it's kind of hard to really ever dive too deep into this. No border. No cafe. Okay, at least there's no chalet. I am well and truly sick of seeing chalet in this region, but
that's good for Antic. So Antic banning out the 2 most prominent maps that we see in Oceania, Clubhouse, Chalet, which I think really can be a highlight of their map pool and what they want to go to. Bring something out on a play day where maybe there's not going to be as much anticipation. The Consulate did make it through, so it was Consulate or Labs. So I actually kind of look at that map veto as being quite intriguing. It might be the first glimpse heading into playoffs, this being the final day of group stage, where teams are going to start to branch out a little bit more. You know, with the Club, Chalet, they've been the most played map so far at this stage, both banned out by Antic. They're basically saying, we're going to test our map pool, and therefore we're going to test yours.
It's okay, so CS are starting out on attack, right? And Labs, obviously, for me, is honestly, Guz, it's an unknown quantity heading into this. We've had one play day, and I'm not even going to talk about that play day that we saw it in. But the fact of the matter is, this is a very intriguing veto, as Xenox has actually touted there, which I'm surprised he's done his research for. It is very interesting, though, that we are headed to Labs on the final play day.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly some gamesmanship in the veto, right? Leaving it down to Consulate as well, which hasn't been played at all throughout this stage. As you mentioned, Labs one play, it was the Bliss 7-0, so we can't really extrapolate too much from that. But I guess, funnily enough, it was Circular Spheres that lost in that game. So they're very much willing to go back to this battleground. Obviously, Bliss are on a whole different level to Antic, but Circular Spheres have shown improvement. So we're kind of converging on this path now where Circular Spheres have gotten better. They're versing a weaker opponent on the map. So I don't think we can read too much into that 7-0. And I don't think Antic would have either. It's probably just a map they're both relatively comfortable on, and with the expectation to go into playoffs, one that they want to be ready on.
Been a couple of weeks as well, so I wouldn't worry too much about that particular result. They would have learned a lot from that. If anything, you could play devil's advocate and say that result is something that they could look at VOD review, where did things go wrong and what they've learned from that and how they want to approach it, play it, maybe even take some tips and tricks from what Bliss did, apply that into this game.
Yep.
But if I have to go for a prediction, I'm still sticking with Antic.
Sure. Well, it's 3 points are up for grabs. Antic, if they take it, they will jump into second place. Whether that will change by the end of the night. If Circular Spheres cannot get points here, they will be sitting 7th up until, again, the final game of tonight. So this is such an important match for both of these individual teams. It's time to throw it over to Devin Mandy.
Thanks, Rob. Yeah, we're down to the final playday and the stakes have mounted. I'm really glad that even coming down to the last day of the round robin, we still have games that have a lot of impact. And I think Rob said it really well. CS, right now, they're technically in 6th, but if they lose this, they will drop in the round differential, and that means they'll be in 7th place. They'll lose their playoffs contention, and it'll come down to that game at the end of the day with 6 targets about whether Circular Spheres have a chance at making it into the playoffs or if they're eliminated.
I think it's clear as day, right? This game is way more important for Circular Spheres than it is for Antic.
Oh, yeah.
Antic, like, they're up there, they're in there. Yes, mathematically, they can technically get eliminated into 7th or whatever. That's probably not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? It's tremendously unlikely that's going to happen. So for Circular Spheres, it's important for them to create this gap between them and 6 targets to make sure they stave off elimination. And that can mean a lot of added pressure, right? Circular Spheres, they've been on the rise since week 1. Week 1, they were just like, okay, you know, blunder, 2 games, 0 and 14. But since then, it's been like Circular Spheres are activated, right? So this is a game where they need to keep pulling it together, making sure they continue their win streak. Very much so. And one thing that we know for certain is that both of these teams have their destiny in their own hands. If both of these, or either of these teams win this and get the full 3 points, they're guaranteed. They go through. Circular Spheres, they don't have to worry about being at the bottom of the standings if they can take down Antic. Now, Antic, what a turbulent stage it has been for this roster. We touted them as the 2nd best team in this region. We got a little bit ahead of ourselves in saying that. They've had some big wins. They took down Odium, for example, but they've had too many big losses, and that has cost them the top 2 spot. Well, they've been afforded the new format of OCE. Haha, if you lose a game, it is okay because you get a 2nd chance at the major in the playoffs, which is honestly pretty good for this league, right? Especially with how close the midfield has been. Oh yeah, very necessary. I don't know what we would do without playoffs. It would have been very strange, and this midfield battle would have felt far less tense. And so I'm very glad that we've got playoffs. My favorite addition to Blarstar 6 this year, and also almost every region is following the same or if not a very similar format, which makes it really easy to switch between the different leagues. Antic, of course, huge stakes for them this game, even bigger for Circular Spheres, as we've said. And I am really excited because we're going to Nighthaven Labs. Now, this map, it's been a hot minute. I remember the last time I casted Labs. Mandy, do you remember? No, I don't know. No idea. Well, I can tell you the last time that Circular Spheres played it, they got 7-0'd by Bliss. Ah. So I really hope for their sake that they've brought something a little bit more to the table than what we saw from them 3 weeks ago. Me too. That would be exciting if they did. They went back and they reviewed that one. They were like, whoopsies. So anyway, we're not very good at this map, but hopefully now they are better at it. Now the ban phase has flown by us. And honestly, there's really not anything super special getting banned out except the Monty, which in this day and age of the shield rework is pretty strong. Hell yeah. Yeah, so taking that out, I don't know if it's target ban or not, but certainly pretty popular. I mean, Circular Spheres did ban it, so maybe it's a Juicy ban. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Juice is pretty likely. He's a pretty good Monty, and I think we've seen, I believe it was Tuhan was playing a little bit of it as well. Antic like to switch around these roles a bit. Obviously, when you've got a roster that's already stacked with fraggers, and then you bring on Killerman and Frixel, two big rookies that made a statement last year on the Mammoth roster, you've now got 4 fraggers and the Don. So you're going to end up having a couple of rejigs of the roles. Players like Tuhan and Logic, but particularly Tuhan, are going to have to get a little bit more creative and change their roles a little bit. And yeah, just talking about Juicy for a second, he's actually got the most plants in the whole league tied up with Hunter from Man LFO. He's a big support player. He's also been fragging out of his mind as well. This is arguably the best stage we've seen from him in terms of a fragging capability. Hell ironically, he's on a big fragging roster and he's still hanging with them. Hell yeah, that's good from Juicy. I mean, like Jake was saying on the desk earlier, when is Juicy going to be the one that gets carried? Because like in every team he joins, he's got to like do the good work, right? But like, honestly, I feel like on this team, like a big reason why he can do as well as he does is because everyone else is also doing pretty solid, right? Like if everyone does their job, Juicy can just sit there and anchor them. By the time they hit the bomb site, you will kill them. That's pretty good, yeah, very true. Anyway, alas. Here we go. Circular Spheres are trying to land their first attack onto Nighthaven Labs. There is a player just at the bottom of Garage there as Pinku tries to make his entry. It does seem like it's being washed. I think that's Killerman on the other side, if I'm not wrong. Yellow Ping does come out. Easy. Actually, that will be an easy headshot. Down, but not secured. But now it has been Pinku with the first pick of the series. It's a big one. Nice to start it. I'd like to see Antic be a little bit cautious now. They've already lost an early pick, and
really early, by the way. Like 1 minute into the round, you've already lost a player. Nighthaven, it's a big map, and that means you can roam. We see a lot of this kind of fallback roam strat. Looks like Logic's actually been pinged here by the Jackals Inox.
Or Frixel.
So he's in an awkward spot. Frixel does eventually refrag. That was quite necessary there for Antic. Fighting from a man down, they really needed something back, and taking down Goof, the top player for Circular Spheres, is a massive impact for Antic.
I do rate the Jackal pick here from... Oh my god, who is that? That's Jakenna,
Jakenna,
right?
yeah.
Okay, excellent. I do rate the Jackal pick from Jakenna, especially on a map like this where your escape route can be a bit...
How you going?
I'm trying to think of the right word. Slippery, perhaps?
Yeah, slippery.
And so, yeah, I think locking Logic in place here is going to help with this pinch, unless Logic can just take both these players out.
No, it's possible. He's really, like, put under the pump here. What are you doing, Jakenna? Eventually, there's a refrag comes through. It was well played for the most part. CS had the right idea. 3 players pinching, but a little bit of a mistake there from Jakenna not continuing to hold that angle. It allowed Antic to get another kill. And now 45 seconds. It's not looking great. Like, there's not a ton of time here for CS.
All right, so this shield inside of the bomb site is great until it gets verticaled from above, which is exactly what Japer has done, and it's forced all of the players of Antic off of Nano and inside of Assembly instead. The wall being closed means that they are safe on the other side of the bomb site, but nevertheless, Circular Spheres still need to find a way in. It seems like Assembly is going to be the play, which is actually where most of the defense is here. Mutravs being on the wall can surely be cleared from Japer, and it won't be, or it will be now.
Nice.
And that's going to allow Circular Spheres a way in, but Antic are right on the other side.
However, the exchange is opened by CS. Tuhan and Juicy have time on their side. That will need to be their third player to even up this advantage, but Tuhan can't get it done. Only a few seconds on the clock, but Circular Spheres appear unfazed. Great opening considering things looked a little bit of trouble on that roam clear. They lock in their first attack on Nighthaven.
I think the vertical really did the dirty work there for Circular Spheres. As they went through that mid-round, they opened up what they needed to. They vacated all of Nano. That forced all the Antic players into Assembly because they thought they would be safe there. Then they opened all the vertical and Assembly. And then they realized, okay, we need to vacate that as well. They tried to go into tank and Animus and that type of thing. But then by the time that Circular Spheres had gone and done that vertical, they'd also translated their push into the basement at the same time. They managed to catch them out on those rotations through the rooms adjacent to the bomb site and were able to convert the round. Really solid one for Circular Spheres. Even in the dying seconds of the round, it was well coordinated.
So, Mandy, we talked about the stakes for these teams. But what we didn't really discuss is our takes on who is favored in this matchup. And I'm actually kind of unsure. I don't know how to split these two teams because obviously CS had such a pitiful start to the stage. But since then, it's been pretty good, right? Like, they got 7-0'd in their first 2 games and then a really convincing 7-3 over Keltons. An amazing 7-0 over 6 targets, a close loss to Panic and a close loss to Man. So it is really hard for me to place these guys.
I'm not gonna lie, they flipped a coin.
Did you flip one?
I actually flipped a coin for this
Wow.
one. But because the coin chose Antic, I'm gonna justify the coin's choice.
Okay, go for it.
My thing here is that Circular Spheres are under a lot of pressure. Pressure is bad for performance if you can't deal with it very well. So for Antic, they should be good in the hood, right? That's my justification of the coin's choice.
Okay, I respect that. Well, if I'm to play devil's advocate, because I picked CS for this game, look who's winning right now, Mandy!
It's been one round!
The game is over!
It's been
CS
one
have done
round!
it.
all right. Don't get ahead of yourself. It has been...
I think I'm the chief of getting ahead of oneself here.
Hell
on the
no,
broadcast.
it's been one round, bro. You can't do that. Okay, there goes Japer.
Bro, there's clearly a bit at the bottom he has missed.
I don't really know. I feel like the finesse of Maverick tricking is not something that I know very much about.
Oh,
Nevertheless.
maybe I was wrong. I was quite wrong.
Okay. It's okay. It's open
mind.
now. Okay, epic. So this line of sight is open now for Circular Spheres. Killerman. Don't want to be peeking that one. Nevertheless, he's safe. He's his army for a little bit longer. Meanwhile, though, the control has been opened up inside of Connector as well for Jakenna and his friends. Now holding on to this line of sight going to E, waiting for something to happen, but Antic are going to lie in wait for a little bit longer. They've even reinforced off the rotation from the bomb site going into Connector as well. So while that does enable some space in for Circular Spheres, it locks off the bomb site for a little bit longer.
Yeah, I kind of love this, or the timing could be good on that Nitro. Japer takes a bit of damage. Now the big question remains, how are we going to see the util cleared off this wall? Pinky's got one final EMP. He's just sent his second last one out, and that does enable the breach. Thank you, Ace. and Thatcher. Nice little wombo combo there. Puts a lot of pressure on the site, but an impact trick does mean that there won't be a full entry breach as of yet. The final Selma goes out, and so that is a vaultable hole.
So from here on out, I'm kind of looking to see what else Circular Spheres can do with their space. Like, yes, they've got a lot of control here on Con. Both pools are open. But can they make things work around IT or around Blue at the same time? Now, IT is pretty hard to entry. Jape has got a pretty tough job. But the rest of the teammates should have an in on the bomb site here to at least make this entry work. Now, there are 40 seconds left to go. Plenty of time for them to plan things out and choke out the bomb site even more, see what extra space they can get. It looked like they were going to try and contest with the bottom of Blue there. Goof thought better of it. He's going to jump back out again. So it seems like the main push is going to be from within this con section. Juicy is probably going to be the player that gets cleared out here first. Oh, good flash from below from Physics, but Jape elsewhere has actually been aggressively peaked. Here comes the push from top Blue. No, I don't think they actually do have anyone. It's just straight into sight from Electrical. There is no backstab, and that might punish Circular Spheres here. However, Pinku's able to find his engagement, but Killer Man continues to mow down the remaining attackers. Yeah, a bit of a strange one there, but at the end of the day, if Killerman can just keep swinging and keep finding picks, then CS are gonna have a bad time. Good hold there from Antic. I thought they really just closed up all the holes that Circular Spheres tried to open up into the bomb site, right? Like, yes, they had con control, but any other control that they tried to gain from there, like Blue or like IT or like Garage, was well held onto by the rest of the Antic players. Gooft wasn't able to enter up the blue stairs. There was a player there lying in wait for him. Not only that, Juicy took a long time to be taken down, even though he did eventually get killed inside of E. But nevertheless, I think the rest of the Antic players really showed up there, just making sure that there were no safe points of entry and holding on to them, playing the crossfires. Solid defense. Solid. So Mandy, I took a little trip down memory lane. Oh, okay. Do you know the last time that Circular Spheres played this Antic roster? They weren't known as Antic at the time. They were known as Osiris. Okay. Do you know the last time these teams met in the server? It was in a little old tournament called the Wrecked Campaign in the playoffs. In a best of 3, Osiris were touted to be the #2 team in the region at that point. In Triple R, back-to-back, second place in Blastar 6, almost made it to the Atlanta Major, got picked up by a big organization with Osiris. And how did that pan out for them? CS eliminated them from the campaign, from the off-season tournament, and Osiris disbanded, only to eventually return as Antic once they convinced Killerman and Frixel to join over to their side. So, CS, the last time they played this team, they literally made them disband. This is a big revenge opportunity for Antic right here. If CS takes them down, like, that's gotta sting something real different. Oh boy, this is exciting, isn't it? Quite a rivalry. I quite like that. That is quite a good rivalry, isn't it? I think we have a rivalry between these teams. Well, Jape is going to take Killerman down because that goes back as far as a year. A year ago, CS were the team that knocked out the at-the-time wildcard roster from major contention. Fortunately for Antic, they even the numbers, but I still feel this rivalry bubbling. Oh, you know us. We do like a bit of drama on the cast. We do. This is like maths right here. Okay, here we go. Frixel is in the top floor at the moment. Now he has taken down a player on the other side inside a connector, but I think there is another one lying in wait on his window. That's Physics on the other side. He does take a little bit of damage, but isn't down just yet. Logic is going to try and help his teammate out. 2 players coming from the IT direction of the top floor, and Antic are going to spend a really long time on this top floor holding on. Oh, good support from the players down below. Good read as well. Frixel does a lot of damage, eventually gets the kill onto Goofed, and this roam clear has not been successful. Frixel comes up huge, and Logic to support. Great work from Antic there to lock down that roam game. Yeah, really solid one there as well. Just played their time super well. They realized that they didn't really have to fall off because Circular Spheres were taking a little bit too long to make that entry work, having lost their first 2 on the opening pick. And then from there on out, just trusted themselves, backed in the crossfire, played solid roam on the top floor. The rest of the players of Antic didn't see any action, except for Too Hot, who sent a C4 from down below. So yeah, pretty simple round there from Antic, nothing too special, but they did it. Yeah, it's pretty solid to come back from a 4v5 as well. Just it really comes down to Frixel playing his position in Electrical so well. It's a shame for Circular Spheres though, because last time they cleared the roam, no worries at all, attacking that basement bomb site. This time they didn't even get top floor control. Well, the thing is, the roam clear is always going to be the most turbulent point of the round, especially if you're like an in-game leader, right? You're, go, fight them now. And it's completely out of your control once you've made that call. It's just have they fought them or have they not, right? So, yeah, it is one of those things in Rainbow Six, isn't it? At the end of the day, it is still a game where you need to shoot them.
Yeah, very true. I think it was the right call from Antic, though, to really double down on that roam game, right? Like, they're bringing Mozzie, Mute, Solus, Vigil, like everyone you possibly can pretty much to deny that info game and get nice and aggressive there on that roam. They even had the player down below supporting with C4s. Thanks to Tuhan, he found a pick and yeah, just beautiful stuff. But of course, we now force onto a tertiary side for Antic, which is going to make things a little bit easier for Circular Spheres to tie up the score.
Ooh, quick entry as well from Jakenna in through meeting. Now, there are some players on the top floor, although they are a little further back or situated a bit further back. Okay, never mind. There's a play inside a connector. Brixel was not paying attention whatsoever. He had no idea that Jakenna was here, trying to shoot down a drone with his pistol. Gets taken out for it.
Jebaited. Well, there is, though, a trade. It seems like every single round, the opening kill is traded back within a few seconds. And the chaos doesn't stop here, it seems, as Juicy has got himself onto the scoreboard. Oh, he's got such a good weapon for this as well. That low recoil C1 SMG, so good. And yeah, Logic's also doubled down. So it's just non-stop action here. Antic continue to contest these angles and win out in these gunfights, making it very difficult for poor Physics and Jakenna to try and redeem themselves this round.
Antic have had some very robust defenses.
That's a good word.
They've been quite hard to pick apart, I think, for Circular Spheres. It feels like every entry point has access to a player, but then there's another player adjacent directly to it in a very fortified position, such as this top lobby stairs, right? Shield being there. It's not an easy strategy to pick apart, I think I would say, for Circular Spheres. And I think with the way that they've been playing the attack, it's like,
oh, hello.
Whoa, what's going on there? It's a bit maybe too linear for them to actually be able to clear this out.
Well, thankfully, there's actually a massive hole looking straight into sight, and Physics has found one. There's good info here for Jakenna, and he's already lit up Tuhan a lot. He can't quite get the angle without exposing himself to two other players, at least one for sure. And really, it's on Antic here to maintain these crossfires. A big player is Juicy. He's the one protecting Tuhan in his position. And Physics needs to be careful of the long angle in the hallway. If he takes down that player, he might be able to isolate this fight here. He's taken Juicy out. There's no coverage, but Killerman comes from the hallway. Jakenna in a 1v2, but he won't even finish off what was left of Tuhan. Down to 1 HP. Lucky to have won that out. A 4v2 that got a lot closer than it should have.
Yeah, I think Antic are really holding on to this game strategically in a much better grasp than I think Circular Spheres are. Now, I suppose the asterisk to that is Circular Spheres are on the attacking half, and historically, OCE has been quite defender-sided.
Yeah.
So, I think, yeah, Antic just look like they're playing the map really well, to be honest. They're playing together, and it looks like everything that they're doing is really well planned out, like from their starting position, where they're going to play the full of route secondary positions. Like, it feels super well thought out from Antic, whereas I think on the side of Circular Spheres, their attacks don't seem as well thought out. Like they don't seem very put together, which is why I think we're seeing a lot of these isolated gunfights go down. There's not a lot of refrag potential, there's not a lot of team play, I think, going along the side of Circular Spheres, where I think it's very much the opposite story for Antic on the defense. And I think Circular Spheres take the tactical time out now, try and win out another attack here. It's pretty important.
Yeah, I definitely think like 2 should be what you're gunning for here. I think that if this is
they can get 3, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, I think if they put a bit more thought into what they're doing and actually do things simultaneously, they could definitely get 3. It just doesn't. Yeah.
Especially because every now and then, you know, there's a couple of gunfights that that Circular Spheres bring up numbers advantages. You know, that was a 2v2 from a 4v2.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of individual picks at the start made it pretty awkward for CS to come back from. Now, it's only the second time in OCE that this map's been played, and that was a 7-0, the Bliss 7-0 over Circular Sphere. So the stats, like defender attacker-sidedness, not really a bit of a moot point for OCE. Also hasn't been played in Asia, which was the next closest region, I thought, in terms of play style, maybe. So I've gone and had a look at North America instead, because it's been played quite a lot of times there. 5 matches played on Nighthaven Labs. It is a 66% defensive favor, which means that you should be happy if you found 2 attacks. But you do make a good point. It is realistic here for Circular Spheres to potentially even find 3.
I think they were very capable in getting the early advantage here, but it's about the step following that first pick that I think they need to nail here. And a lot of that will come down to timing, I think, for Circular Spheres. And I think taking that tactical timeout to do a mental reset and like get on the same page as each other will probably help that. Okay, here we go. This is Gufts. We're on board with at the moment on the Nomad, who's going to assist some of his teammates in getting this IC breach open. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map... Oh, okay, that's not good. How is that? Oh, no!
Juicy! What is going on? The Don is back and he's firing. He's taken down the Nomad and Ace. The top fragger from Circular Spheres in the league.
Oh my.
He hasn't even found a kill yet.
Oh my.
What is going on?
Oh dear. Well, that is quite a boon to their attacking campaign. We were smelling all this, like, so much potential, so much excitement. They can do this. And then Juicy's like, oh, hell no. That's not happening in this server.
But you got a Nomad, bro. Like, how is he jumping out and killing 2 people when you've got a Nomad?
He's mute. Maybe he...
Did he mute it up?
Maybe he's muted the E.
I didn't even see the... There's no
I mean,
mute
the drone is... You know, the drone's been bonked on the corner.
Here we go. That cheeky bastard.
An evil genius.
Oh, that is so dirty. I love that. He played it to perfection.
Wonderful. Okay, here goes Pinku in through IT. Now, IT isn't the ideal place for you to be in, really. It's quite hard to be able to entry off the back of this because there are 2 doorways which you can be killed from. So here's Killerman on the other side of 1 on the Izami, who is very safe in his fortress. Now, don't peek this.
Oh, it's Killerman. He's going to peek it.
You hold this with your teammate, Juicy. Oh, no. Okay, good Killerman. Meanwhile, Juicy's going to hold on to E, which he's done pretty well so far. I think Antic have to monumentally mess this one up.
Well, there you go.
That's to lose this
how
one.
You make it happen.
Oh, well, it'll be all right.
She'll be all right. Oh, Physics is about to find Juicy, though, who does fall on back thanks to that wall being opened up with the thermite. Physics has checked that corner. He knows it's clear. Still a big crossfire on site and an off angle here from Logic as well, just next to the breach. Attempted bait with the drone, but that's going to go straight into a mute jammer. Anyway, Logic taken low from Japer as IT has been forfeited and Physics has found his pick. So maybe this is winnable. What's the Don doing? He's back outside.
Come on, Antic.
There's a player deep in the site. Juicy should know about it. He comes around and takes him on down. That's his 3rd on the round, all up to poor Japer. Juicy makes it a 4K. Cold, cool, calm, collected. 4 rounds on the trot for Antic.
Oh man, what a big round for Juicy as well. Pocket mute jammer into a double run out with the shotgun. And then after that, a 2K from just rotating around from electrical to connector. Fantastic round for Antic, really. There's not much more to say about that. That's a real dent into the Circular Spheres, you know, run through this series, in my opinion. That was quite something.
Yeah, no, that was a... I think you really need to write off those 2 command center rounds. This was just gnarly.
How's he gone and done that then, huh?
How's Blood gone and done that? Yeah, if you're CS now, you just need to write off both of those command center rounds, those top floor rounds, because they were pretty pitiful both times. Funnily enough, they got 4K'd both times. The first time by Killerman, the second time by Juicy. So just not being able to displace these specific players that are really running amok. Now, Circular Spheres, they started this game with a solid win onto this basement bomb site. The second time they tried, they couldn't even clear the roam. And it's a full roam once again. We've got these 4 counter-information operators, the Mute, Mozzie, Mira, and Solus. Wow, if only Solus started with an M, that would have been perfect. And when I said Mira, I actually meant Vigil, so no, never mind me. Antic are really setting up to lead into this roam. CS have got to do something about it.
So I think the problem here, as you pointed out last time they did this roam, is the lineup that they got right. Not only have they got Mute Mozzie, but they've also got Vigil. The problem that I think Circular Spheres are going to face is that they can't be really relying on drone intel in this scenario. They probably need to rely on other roam clearing intel, which is why I thought stuff like your Dokkaebis, your Jackals, and your Lions are probably a good idea. Now this time around, they haven't brought the Jackal at all. They've completely forfeited, and instead just gone with the Dokkaebi. So I think, in general, this roam clear should be pretty hard, in theory, for Circular Spheres, unless they can find a good entry here.
Makes me wonder what kind of risks they're going to take. Japer's eager to just jump straight on in. The drone's giving him some info. He knows that Solus is just around the corner. Oh no! That's a big pick to lose so early. The Dokkaebi's down before using her calls.
Oh.
And Pinku hasn't found anything. Japer fortunately does finish off Killerman, but this has been quite a successful roam thus far. And I think that Antic might even be able to escape.
I reckon they have. All they need to do is head back down low here and they'll be fine. Actually, never mind. Logic is stuck. Ah, that
He's
could
Vigil,
change
though.
the picture.
He's the perfect operator for this. If he bides his time and they don't check him,
Oh dear.
I don't think they know.
I don't think they know either.
Patience could be a real virtue now. Japer is making a hell of a lot of noise. Oh, everyone's just left. There's nobody up nearby anymore. But if they think the roam is clear, if they're not watching their flanks, if they're not careful, Logic could backstab.
So Physics is on a drone. Somewhere. I don't think that's a flank drone, though. That wouldn't make a lot of sense. Yes, he's droning ahead, which makes me a little concerned.
We do have 2 players dead on drones at the moment, but I'm not sure where these drones might be. There are still quite a lot up alive, potentially.
I mean, they're both on the
flanks.
Physics drone, which is ahead. So Logic is... Oh, no, they know! How do they know?
How do they know?
There must be a second one or something.
Really
That's
good
crazy.
read.
Wow, excellent. Okay, a minute left, but so this is still doable. But
Pinku
there's a
dies
corner.
here.
Oh no, Juicy. He's definitely going to get one out of this just to be free. Yep, absolutely it is. Pinku to be taken down. And that is now a very tough situation to convert. 2 versus 3 into the basement. Not easy.
Oh man. I don't know how they keep doing this. Mandy, how do Antic keep applying this pressure? Juicy heard that play. Oh, they've got info on him. I don't know where this info's from. Must be a hacked drone from the Mozzie. Juicy comes around. Antic firing on all cylinders. A very convincing 5-1 half. All glum faces on the Circular Spheres camp.
Oh man, I mean, that is a pretty decisive half for Antic. They played a very solid defense. I think both strategically and the way that they executed those as well, I feel like was just super well played. They clearly know what they're doing. Now, whether they've actually constructed these strategies themselves or whether their coach has written these up or what it is, it's a solid Nighthaven. I don't know where it's come from, but it's very good. They're doing well.
Yeah.
Who's their coach?
Pardon?
Who's the Antic coach?
Let me double check, because I think they made a roster change.
What do they not have one?
Doesn't list one on Wikipedia, but I thought they did have far out. What was his name? I can't remember. They had a European coach for a while, right?
Did they?
With Osiris, I thought.
I have no idea.
I'm gonna dive in here and have a look at this Osiris.
Right, okay, you go and do your research. That's okay. Yeah, I think
they did for a while. They had.
5 seconds to insertion.
I don't know.
I think the main thing about the Antic defenses is that I think the way that they've written them out really plays into the strengths of each player. Like you've got Juicy, who's got like these amazing routes for his setup and the way he plays, and then you've got the rest of these guys on roam together and they're just playing it super well with the combination of operators. It just feels like a very well-tailored way to play Nighthaven defense to the team specifically. So for Circular Spheres now on their defending half, they're going to have to put up something equally as good, which I think will be quite challenging.
The attacker's bomb diffuser has been dropped.
Yeah, mate, I'm cooked. I don't know what I'm talking about. I can't find their coach listed anywhere. So I think I must give up on that. I'm on the Antic website. They don't even have their Rainbow Six team on their website. So there you go.
Alas. Okay.
We'll have to ask Log after the game when
Yeah,
they
we might.
7-1 Circular Spheres.
So here goes Juicy on his Maverick of the RT wall. Should be done fairly easily here. Logic's going to cover just in case someone tries to get aggressive. Oh, and he's going to make an extra hole as well. It's exciting. Wonder what that's for. Anyway.
Love that. The more the merrier.
I wonder what the rest of Antic are doing here because, okay, well,
Big.
yeah. Cool. So that's the player on rafters. Ah, that's very cheeky.
Pinku's struggling a bit today, hey? He's found a few picks, but I noticed as well, I don't know how much you want to read into this, but like he was running the ACOG on the R4C for a while, he switched to the Holo. It's little things like that that just make me think that these players aren't confident in their skin. If you're like changing your attachments and your sights mid-game, especially when you're losing, it's like you're looking for a band-aid fix, and it's like, come on, mate, the ACOG versus the Holo isn't going to be the reason why you're losing these rounds.
Nah, bro, I wouldn't read into that too much. I reckon that's personal preference depending on the way you're attacking. Anyway, okay, so Guta's going to be able to find Killer Man on the window. That's going to help them out at least a little bit here on the defense. And with the minute ticking down, Antic have still got their work cut out for them. Yes, they've got IT wall open, but if they want to go and translate it over into towards the connector side of the map, they're going to have to go and make the switch happen pretty quickly. It doesn't seem like they're going to do that at all, though. It seems more like a garage-centric take, which is where Jakenna is going to come in hot.
I don't think they know about Jakenna yet. He's coming up the stairs.
I think he's gone.
Oh, the timing is perfect there. Physics goes for a peek. He is punished. Good stuff from Goof. He finally gets himself back into this. Pressure from behind. And a big kill from Logic. Up to a 1v1. And Japer just falls straight away as well. Pushing for refrag after refrag. But Antic are always ready for it. They are outgunning the young Gunners. And they found themselves on match point before you know it.
Really well-timed attack there from Antic. You don't often see a IT garage style attack on this map. It's often more centered around the other side of the map, like towards blue and connected. That seems to be more popular these days. But I think it really caught Circular Spheres off guard there. Yes, they had their big fortress set up around the rafters, but I think some well-timed entries through the door, through the window, the bottom of the garage, all happening at the same time, really caught them off. And yeah, ultimately Antic came on top of the trades, having found that pick early onto Pinku from the breach. Really well capitalized on.
So with that point, Antic are now 100% confirmed for going to the playoffs. Congratulations, Antic. They've made the top 6, but of course, job not done yet. There's still a chance, an outside chance, they could even make it into the top 2. And if they win in regulation, well, that's the only realistic way that there's a chance of that happening. If they lose this game from here, then it's out. But Antic want to set themselves up with the maximum momentum moving into playoffs. We know how much of a momentum-based team these guys are. And after a turbulent stage, a win here in a dominant fashion would be exactly what the doctor orders. I mean, 7-5 over Odium last week, and then a 7-1 over Circular Spheres today. That's the kind of confidence that this team needs to go into the playoffs swinging.
Ooh, early jump out here for Jakenna, trying to find a player coming around the cargo boxes on the other side. Isn't going to meet anyone. Oh, and a wallbang as well, all the way through Connector. Does take a little bit of his HP off, but not down just yet. There's a player that's entried in through top blue, I believe, and he's about to walk into them. Okay, it's Frixel on the other side as well, into Connector. Jakenna's going to get pinched out real quick here if he's not careful.
He needs to be careful, because there's no second chances here for Circular Spheres. They lose this game, and playoffs is well out of their hands. It'll come down to 6 targets later today. And they will be in 7th place with only an outside chance of making it work. A C4 goes awry as Circular Spheres are pushed back further and further, feeling that pressure mounting up.
Quick roam clear as well from Antic. They brought along nearly identical of a lineup to the one that Circular Spheres did, but they executed it in a much more efficient fashion. Here's Killer Man as well, now translated his push into the ground floor from the top floor. I think there's only one roamer left, in fact, on the ground floor. Pinku and Gooft all the way over in kitchen. I think Logic knows exactly where he is as well. He's just waiting for some of that info to go out. There's no more Jackal scans. So Gooft might be good here for a kill, and he is, onto Logic, but he's got to go for more. Yeah,
that kill is sorely needed. Good drone, but spotted. Now Gooft has to decide, is he going to keep pushing or is he going to wait? Killerman's taken down Jakenna as well, who's not firing in this round. A good trade. And Frixel, he's taken down Gooft on that roam. A little bit premature there on that flank. Well read. Antic have recomposed and have plenty of time to shape up for an execute.
This is where I will turn my attention to Tuhan, who is on the buck at the moment and can do some work here on the ground floor if he wants to try and flush out some of these players inside of Nano and inside of Assembly. He's got a bit of time to do that as well. A minute left on the clock is plenty of time to work with. He's going to be able to help out clearing some of this utility as well. So a lot of the bomb site is going to be vacated. But oh, what's that? Japa's going to be able to kill a player through... No, not through the floor, right? Where's Frixel?
No, he killed Frixel through the floor. He must have been using his Jackal scanner, and he saw him using the Solus. Now, at the drop of a hat, it's, well, round over. Circular Spheres, really just a sigh of relief. At least Jakenna's got a smile on his dial. Because Japa, it looks pretty glum. These guys need to fire out. We need to see that kind of friend energy. The power of friendship that we expect out of Circular Spheres.
Hell yeah.
Mate, they need this, Mandy. Like, they lose in regulation, and their chances of going to playoffs are very, very grim.
Yeah, this is an essential 4 points for these guys. Oh, 4 points, sorry, 4 rounds to get 1 or 2 points right now for Circular Spheres. And what an interesting round that was towards the end there. I think you actually called it right. He must have... No, but he can't have been on a Jackal scanner because he didn't have any more Jackals.
Oh, he can look for footsteps, though. He could have opened up a hole on the floor and looked for the footsteps through the floor.
True. That's so weird.
I'm not sure. I think
you might be right.
I saw it as a floor bang, and I noticed that it was Jackal and Solus earlier, and I just thought of that interaction.
Interesting.
I have a feeling, I don't know, if our OBS team is clever enough to be able to know whether or not I'm right or wrong. Is there a thumbs up from Skizzle? No, he's doing one of these at me, which is like a no, I think.
Okay, wonderful.
As in I'm wrong, or as in you don't know? He doesn't know. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, neither do I. Neither do either of us. Anyway,
I'm theory crafting.
Woohoo! Circle has won a defense. Awesome. They got to win 4 more. That's pretty tough.
Yeah.
But they can do it. I believe in them.
Yeah, 5-1's not impossible on this map for sure. And like we said, the stats from NAL are 66% defense favored. That's, I mean, a 4-2 on your defense would be even below the par technically on average. So Antic really need to just kick in a gear here, be ultra cautious, look for these opening picks. Oh, goofed.
That's dangerous.
Yeah, extremely. And he's basically trapped now. He can't escape either way.
I think there's a player in the ground floor, though, to protect him. There is, one of his teammates.
He's just cooked. Like, he needs to just get a kill because there's no way that he survives this position.
I mean, this could work out okay, the defense.
Did he fall off the roof?
I think so. That is rather unfortunate. I think this one should be okay, I think, from Circular Spheres from here. Yes, Antic have got an open con wall, but now they need to go and pick up their teammate. And they need to go and clear Japer out if they want to enter in through this side of the map as well. They've got their work cut out for them. Circular Spheres can still win from this position.
Yeah, especially if Physics finds that pick. Antic are so disjointed. Duhan's been picked on up again, but bit awkward, but Killerman does secure his kill. There's just no way here that Goof gets revived. So hopefully he can just delay as much time as possible. Oh, he is spotted. Finally, Logic sees him. He is downed after all. I can confirm that kill. Credit to Goof. He wasted a fair amount of time.
I wonder where Japer is now. So he was in the ground floor initially on the other side of the map. No more. He's rotated back up to his teammates instead. He's going to hold on to the bomb site, which I think is probably the right play here in the 3-on-3 situation. Not only that, but 2 players of Antic are pretty low. So if they actually want to make an entry work off all the crossfires that Circular Spheres are holding on from here on out, it's been pretty tough. Nice C4, doesn't connect.
Oh, that's a really good Selma, though. Well done from Tuhan. Makes things awkward now for CS as they have to peel back this defense. The one thing going for CS at the moment is that there's 2 Antic players very low on HP. 1 bullet will take them down.
It's good drawing work as well from Tuhan. They know where all these players in defense for Circular Spheres are, and they can look to try and see whether they can isolate a pick or at least bait one out from here. C4 that won't be sunk from Physics as well. His logic in through IT. This could be a big hole for him if he can capitalize on it.
Solar seems aware. Japer goes for a bit of a shoulder peek. Threatens the position. Bit of a warning shot. Logic needs to win this fight. It would open up the round, and he does. But a big play on the site from Physics as Logic trades him back as well. Jakenna in a 1 versus 2. He's found the first. He's found the double. Oh, Circular Spheres. They ain't done just yet. Jakenna fires up when he's needed.
That was a very valiant effort there from Logic to go in through IT. I think that was the one point of entry with that limited time that they had to try and capitalize, I think, on that situation, especially with 2 players so low. They can't brute force their way on in. But yeah, Jakenna able to hold on to in the 2 versus 1. Taking out 1, 2 clean headshots with the Vector in hand. Very well played there from Circular Spheres. The remaining 3 plays of Circular Spheres.
Logic had a big impact, though, with this backstab. You said it. The IT push could have been everything, and it really almost was. Just comes down to Jakenna playing that so perfectly in the 1v2. So CS, credit to them. They've just strung 2 together. That's not half bad, especially after losing their first defense. And now, of course, they've fixed those problems because it was the top floor command center servers that they lost, and now they've won that one. They've won the basement, tank and assembly, and now we move on to the tertiary bomb site. We've gone kitchen, cafeteria. And this is really where CS just need to make a bit of a statement. This is the weakest bomb site, but we saw Antic defend it successfully. Let's see if CS can back that up.
5 seconds left.
Interesting setup from CS over on the top floor as well.
Attacker's objective is to locate use a bomb.
Does look like they're actually going to hold on somehow inside a meeting here with the setup that they've got going, but I actually don't know too much about it. Nevertheless, as Army should make things a bit tricky in the top floor. I think the combination of the Buck and the Ram does make me think that Antic are going to want to actually clear out the top floor in its entirety to go and play the vertical game. Try and make the ground floor really uncomfortable from there on out, but of course the first thing they need to do here is clear out meeting. That's a little dangerous when Jakenna's right around the corner, but nevertheless. What an interesting setup.
Oh.
I quite like this.
Yeah, well, it certainly enabled an early pick from Goofed, which is nice. I think the Ram's a great pick here, just enables that really quick vertical, but yeah, unfortunately, losing a player early, especially a player like Logic, who's got that active utility with the Dokkaebi, late round, that will go a begging.
So, essentially, this position inside a meeting is probably a bit harder to clear out than Antic think it is because of the open line of sight, which means that the top main or top lobby player can then support the entry, which is where Killerman is right now. He can't actually enter safely because there will be a crossfire on him if he does. So Antic needs to be really careful throwing bodies at this problem. Now that's one way to try and solve some of the problem is to just do some damage, hold on to these lines of sight, wait for them to make a mistake. But yeah, this should be a pretty tough problem for Antic to clear.
So close, there you go. That's the headshot you're looking for. Tuhan's gone down. Really hard to clear Jakenna up here. He's in such a power position, but eventually he will go down. It's exactly what Antic have been needing for quite some time now, and that means that, of course, numbers are even. It puts a lot of pressure on Goof not to die here.
Well, the danger here is, yeah, the flashbangs are going to come through, but there's the crossfire now. That line of sight being opened up works two ways with Killerman entering in through meeting, and now the vertical game can be played. Physics from down low is going to challenge some of those ram drones and get his way on out, so safety behind the bomb chassis inside a kitchen. And really, the time is ticking down here for Antic.
Yeah, realistically, though, there is enough time to convert this and numbers advantage. So Antic, this is a round they should win, hands down. This game should be over in the next 45 seconds. But Circular Spheres do have an outside chance.
Antic don't really have the time to vertical in the rest of these rooms adjacent to the bomb site, right? So they've really got to go in from here on out. Through kitchen seems to be the play for Frixel. There's a player right around the corner of 90, that's Japer, who doesn't look like he's willing to contest it and is instead going to wait for the late swing. 25 seconds left to go. Two great power positions for Circular Spheres. They can definitely win this out from here. It's very possible.
Good flash. Physics is the power player on site. His position revealed. A kill doesn't land, but he doesn't need that right now. He just needs to wait. He needs to buy time because Japer's swung for two. It's a 1v1. And it's time to run for the hills. Killerman's got that diffuser, but guess who? It's the Solus, the perfect operator for this position. Big 3K on the rounds. Maybe this comeback dream could become a reality.
Yeah, really well played there from the two remaining players of Circular Spheres, especially from Japer on the Solus 390. I don't think they realised he was there. Well, Antic didn't realise that he was there, and he found some great timing onto the two players trying to enter in through kitchen, realising that his teammate was under the pump, forcing the plant to go down with the last few seconds of the round, and then being able to deny the plant as well. Really well played there from Circular Spheres in that situation.
I'll tell you what, Mandy, that's 3 now. From 6-1 down to 6-4. They've made it more than halfway. Only 2 more rounds needed. Oh, Antic, you can't be choking this one after such a lead. 6-1 up. Yeah, it's defense at Nighthaven. Yeah, it should be pretty defender-sided, but they've had match point. They've had 3 now. And yeah, Circular Spheres, we're finally seeing that energy from them. They were looking hella glum in the face cameras, and I'm enjoying that we're actually seeing a little bit of life breathed back into them.
I'm quite a big fan of the way they played that last round as well. I thought the setup inside a meeting was really interesting. Usually that position in meeting is like a bit of a hole for the attack, like it's a possible point of entry. You want to be able to open the wall up to help cut the top floor in half and stuff like that, but being able to play it to their advantage, using the Azami, having the rotation all into the hallway, line of sight for the crossfire for the player on top lobby, it's like that's a pretty innovative way to play it. And I think Antic didn't really have the right problem-solving skills to deal with it. So yeah, I mean, this looks like a real defender-sided Nighthaven Labs, to be honest, Dev. I think it's been a pretty tough map to crack on the attack so far.
I would love this to land. He's going to have to nail the timing. You can see the little outlines. Oh, it's on a rappel a long way away.
It's not going to work.
Nah, this ain't working, I'm afraid.
It'd be really cool if it did, though.
I've seen this land before. Like, you catch 1 or maybe even 2 people coming up that staircase, and you can really nail it.
Oh, he's going to do it. Maybe it is going to work. Do it now,
Has
do
he
it
got
now,
the timing?
do it now.
Oh, the call from the Dokkaebi.
No.
It's bested him.
Oh, well.
Cool idea.
Good idea. That being said, though, Tuhan on the
info.
other side here, he can hear him as well. The Dokkaebi call is ringing out.
Wow.
And, yep, well capitalized on by Antic. Jakenna overstaying his welcome.
And it did take 2 Dokkaebi calls to get that done. But I think Antic just like setting their sights on something, even if it's a huge investment, like they guaranteed that that was going to work. And I respect that a lot. I think it's a great play. Of course, it does mean that there's no more calls for the rest of this round, and we're going into basement. But it looks like some of these roamers are starting to peel on back. So Jape has just dropped down the garage hatch. Pinku is very close to dropping back himself. Goofed is still at large, however. And that does mean there's a lot of roamers, albeit very separated roamers, that Antic will need to clear.
The idea with Dokkaebi is it's your step cutting operator on the roam clear, right? Instead of droning out a room, you logic bomb it instead. So instead of droning out the top floor, they've logic bombed the entire floor while going for the entry at the same time. Now they can then go and use their drones on the ground floor. That's the idea here, right? Not only that, but they can also use the vertical on the ground floor to go and flush out these players into cutoffs. So that's what Tuhan is doing at the moment on the buck. He's making sure that the rooms directly below him, like in the control room, that type of thing, are cleared out. And that way the rest of his teammates can then go and translate it down into the ground floor. So that's Frixel who's going to place vertical for a little bit, realizing it's clear, and is going to go find a point of entry instead.
A lot of damage on a killer, man. Oh, here we go. That's what we've been looking for. Good trade, though. I thought these Circular Spheres roamers were so separated, but apparently close enough to go for a refrag. And Goofed, oh, he almost gets out of dodge. But Logic, good capitalization on those flashbangs. 4v2 now. Best chance that we've seen from Antic to lock this in. Pinku's flashed, and he likely will be swung. Killerman kept at bay by the Banshee and low HP. These two defenders with 30 seconds need to play this perfectly.
I think Pinku's got to look for a play here. He's holding out right at the bottom of cargo stairs. He's waiting for something to happen so he can go and try and bring the numbers back. When you're in a numbers deficit at this little time, you want to be in an off position. You want to look for that opportunity to make a play. And that's why Physics is right here.
Oh no! And they found the 2 picks they need! How do they make it happen? Killerman low HP against Physics. Oh, Logic, you're gonna land it there! Log! You can't be losing those! From a 4v2 Circular Spheres! They make it happen, and with that, the comeback is on!
They're doing it, Dev! They're doing it!
They're doing it!
What did I say? I was a believer!
One more round!
Such a believer!
They only need one more round, Mandy!
They can do it. Yes! This is so exciting. This is great. This is important, right? Because the rest of the importance of the play day basically hinges on this match. If you really think about the way that the standings have gone, right? If this matchup is super one-sided, damn, that makes the rest of the play day really boring until we hit 6T. But if Circular Spheres can make this exciting, we're in for a good day of Rainbow Six.
Hell yeah! And the stakes for both teams right now. Antic thought that they were in the driving seat to get back up to that second place position. One of the main storylines of this whole stage has been Antic, where you been? We expected you in the top 2 and you dropped the ball. They look like they were about to steal that spot away from Man LFO. And now if they don't get these 3 points, I mean certainly if they don't get even 2 points, then they are cooked. But 3 points would be everything they need. Except for Man LFO dropping it later today. Circular Spheres, they lose this, they're out of playoffs, pending the result later today with 6T. But they've brought it back, and they've made it winnable. Even just the round differential is going to have impact on the standings.
Oh, exciting. Now, we can't get too ahead of ourselves, right? We cannot get too ahead of ourselves.
Don't tell me not to get excited.
Antic Esports
don't tell me.
Have one more opportunity to close us out in regulation, and this is the one. Surely that's what they're saying in the comms right now. We just need the one. We can do this, okay?
What kind of pressure does that put on you, though? Say, guys, we failed 4 times in a row now, but it's this one that matters.
No. It's meant to be the encouragement statement, We can do it. We just need one. This is what they can do. Okay, so Antic, last time that they attacked this bomb site, had a really interesting idea, right? They tried to go for a garage center take. It worked out really well. It caught Circular Spheres off guard. That was their one attack win that they've got so far, as I understand it.
Yeah.
So, if they can repeat the success of the past here, in this potential final attack, they can close out this game in regulation. But Circular Spheres will need to have adapted to that. What is going on?
I don't know, I'm hearing Jake do a little bit of commentary on the desk at the minute. It's giving me shivers. Shivering Matim is giving me goosebumps.
Are your heebies GB'd?
Oh, my heebies are very adequately GB'd right now. And I'm extremely just on the edge of my seat in anticipation. In fact, I've stood up. I'm not even on the seat anymore. I want to know if CS can make this happen.
So this is interesting. The wall in connector has now been re-electrified. So that Selma charge has gone on the wall, has not fully detonated, which means it's not a rotation. It is just a line of sight, and a very awkward one at that. So Antic are now looking for other avenues to see where they can put a dent into the bomb site. Killerman seems to have found one inside a garage. A drone all the way in the ground floor does indicate that it's fully vacated and it's being reinforced off. So Circular Spheres, this adaptation is going to fully lock out this side of the map.
However, that does forfeit control of IT here, and Logic has been able to establish a very powerful advanced position. Antic are mere millimeters away from that bomb site, but what can they do to crack their way inside?
It's Pinku, though, Warden, the perfect operator to try and counter Logic flashbangs on the other side. Now, this line of sight hasn't been made, but Juicy looks like he's ready for it. Will this catch Circular Spheres off guard?
Who's watching the line of sight? Killerman is! He's got goofed and he's looking for one more. You said Pinku was the win condition here with the Warden. Killerman swinging for him, but there it is! The headshot he needed! No more EMPs to counter the Thatcher's glasses. Good read, though. Oh, Frixel feeling that pressure. Jape has come back up. He's breathing life back into this defense. Oh, they're all falling. Antic, where did it all go wrong? You're now in a 2v4, 1v3. Tuhan versus the world. The chance was there, but you let it go on by. Circular Spheres, a 5-round comeback. We've gone to overtime.
And so the game deserves it as well. Circular Spheres are mounting an incredible defense half for themselves. Now we're going to go into the juicy part of the game, Derv. This is so exciting. Antic, what is happening?
What went wrong, guys?
What has gone so wrong?
I mean, Juicy, you said this game's getting juicy. He's sitting there, head in his hands. There was such a good first half. 5 rounds in a row, 6 rounds in a row. They won the latter 5 of their defense, and then they won the first attack. This game essentially could have been a 7-0. And now Circular Spheres, well, firstly, they've stolen a point off of Antic. They guarantee they've gotten themselves out of that bottom place, or the 7th place, I guess you could say. They're in the playoffs for now, pending on what happens with 6T later. But CS could gun for more.
Wow, this is very exciting.
And the momentum, where do you reckon that sits right now? Hazard a guess.
So, yeah, look, Circular Spheres are looking good.
Oh,
they look really good. Not only that, but in OT, they start defense.
Oh, no. That's...
So to make things worse for Antic in their run to try and secure this win, they're now on the unfavored side as well in overtime. I think for Antic to have taken that tactical timeout, that was theirs just then, right?
Yeah.
This is a mission-critical mental reset.
I'm telling you, bro, that was way too late. Like, that tactical timeout needed to come 2-3 rounds ago.
Yeah.
They let that slip by massively. Circular Spheres have completely flipped this game on its head. And you might say, well, technically the score's even. But yeah, like you said, defense, overtime, Circular Spheres. And we haven't seen an attack round win for the last 5 rounds.
Oh dear. This is really important for Antic here. So, starting out on the attack OT, if we assume only defense rounds get won, Circular Spheres will win, right? So, for Antic to be able to win here, they have to win this attack, essentially. This is an essential attack.
Oh, yeah.
So, that mental reset is super important. They need to get back on the horse, have a good attack round, and have a good plan going into it. Now, we're going to go down to, I think it's the basement?
Yeah, it is the basement, and last time they played this site, they got the opening pick, Antic did. Killerman found it, and yet they still couldn't convert the round.
A nervous one here for Antic now. They're looking like they're postured up for a roam clear, although perhaps not. It's hard to tell what they want to do in this scenario, right? No Dokkaebi, but yes, Jackal. So the idea for Frixel here is he can't just be loitering outside the building. He's not Dokkaebi. He has to be in the building. He's on a drone right now, which makes me a little nervous.
No.
Oh, what's going on here? The wall isn't reinforced?
Yeah, but Mavericks died. Where did Juicy fall?
Is the wall not reinforced? Will they trick it?
I don't think they reinforced it. Juicy died outside the breach. Was that an aggressive line of sight?
Oh, no.
As the wall got opened, a pre-fire, even a wall bang perhaps? Damage dealt both ways as there's blood on the wall there.
Okay. This is interesting.
I think the writing's on the wall for Antic at the moment. 1 player down in overtime on their attack. It doesn't get much worse than this.
So, in this situation...
They didn't either of the external walls.
This is so odd.
They barely reinforced anything.
So what, did they just dedicate all their reus to the top floor
They didn't
somehow?
reinforce... Wait,
no, that means
they have
use
reinforced
all of them,
everything. Yeah.
Okay, that's so weird. So they chose not to reinforce the main wall. to instead dedicate it to the roam. Is that what I'm saying here?
I think so.
Well, this is an interesting choice here from Antic. Instead of roam clearing from the top floor, they've realized that now that they've got the wall open, let's just go in from the ground floor, cut the defense in half. 2 or 3 plays on the roam, 2 on the bomb side. Try and find the cutoff here instead. So here goes Frixel, but he gets caught in a little debris in the wall, and Japer is going to collect another one onto him.
Who's watching Japer? Nobody.
I'll go too,
Antic getting desperate now.
Oh no,
but
don't
guess
go!
who's above?
Don't go!
Japer again! Oh no! Antic, you had so many chances! But at the end of the day, you can't lock it in. If you can't lock it in now, you can't lock it in ever. Circular Spheres have won 6 in a row. Antic are in shambles.
No, you know, I'll tell you what, we're going around 15. That's all I'm saying. We're going around 15. This is a defender-sided game.
It is, but...
Through and through.
6 rounds in a row, Mandy. And even little things like this, where's Frixel watching? His ACOG housing was covering the angle he needed to hold. Japer finds that kill on the roam, comes back to site, and gets 2 through the vertical game.
I thought...
Antic had just lost, like the wall was unbreached.
I thought that was actually an okay call from Antic. Because, so even though the wall's open, you can't enter into the bomb site, right? Because the vertical game's being played, there are 3 people on the roam, you know that you can't do that safely. That's the mistake that Circular Spheres were making when they played against Bliss, right? So Antic are going, okay, we can't get ahead of ourselves, we need to clear the roam. And they've gone through the ground floor to try and do that. That's where it's all gone wrong, right? Japer was there, and he just destroyed them, basically, trying to enter into the building. So I think Antic, they're still doing the thinking, you know? They're still thinking things out, they're making calls, but they're not executing them. And that's the problem.
I think, yeah, you're nailing it there. Like, they've got the ideas, but where's the execution? And I think that comes down to the mental game. You got so many young gunners on Antic, so many highly passionate, highly talented players, but where does that talent go when the battle is on the inside, when the battle's in their mind? They're not playing Circular Spheres right now. They're fighting themselves. They've just lost 6 rounds in a row. They fumbled 5 match points. They cannot afford to lose this round.
Clayman's on the floor. What does it mean? That's a long run out to go for, nevertheless. Okay, so Circular Spheres are going to open the walls up straight away, so pressure on the bomb site immediately. Now, they don't want to make the same mistake that Antic have made in the previous round. If you go in too early, you're going to get killed through vertical. Not only that, but Juicy's on the bomb side as well. So if you try to enter in through Animus, you're going to be taken out pretty easily. Shotgun in hand. Oh, okay, never mind. It doesn't seem like they care at all. It seems like they're going to try and enter their way straight on in and close this one out. Never mind, Pinku's going to change his mind as well.
Can't decide.
Other players are on the roam clear though.
Ooh.
Or the cutoff. And that's making me think that Circular Spheres have learned from their Team Bliss game.
Well, they've certainly learned a lot from getting 7-0 to now being up 7-6. Hyper cautious of this flank, hyper cautious of the roam game, looking to bait Antic into making the first move. Oh, and they do!
Juicy.
But Juicy lands a gnarly shot onto Jakenna. That's exactly what Antic need right now to continue pushing. Don't lie down and die.
Pinku is having to think about entering in through Animus, but I believe there is a player on the vertical watching his direction entry directly. Not only that, but even if he gets into the bomb site from here, Juicy is going to kill him. So he's a sitting duck. The rest of the players of Circular Spheres, though, what have they been able to achieve? It doesn't seem like too much. Actually, maybe a fair bit. All of Antic have actually rotated back into the bomb site, except for one player. There's only one on the roam. So if they can capitalize on this situation,
does he know?
They can make an opening into the round. Japer has
know.
no idea. I do not know who that player is. It's Frixel on the outside, and that is a freebie.
And this should be an Antic round. Maybe you called it right, Manny. The defense seems insurmountable on this map. Only 2 rounds of attack won so far in the last 13. Desperation for Physics and Goofed. This could be a pick. The timing could go right. Logic. The killing blow. Oh, it's baited. No. Killerman comes back into it. Physics now. Been a big game from him, but it's not going to be a big round for him at all. Antic, I can't believe it. They finally got a bloody round. And we go to maximum overtime to settle what has been quite a defender's paradise on Nighthaven.
Yeah, and now they go into the attack dev. Is this it for Antic? Is it all over?
Look, if Antic win from here, they deserve the win. But they could have done this and gotten the full 3 points out of it. They really could have. Now, there is a world, in theory, where they can clinch top 2 with only an overtime win, but I don't see it happening. At the end of the day, this round is for the mental. This round is for the pride. Antic fumble this game, and that's going to be living rent-free in their heads all the way through playoffs.
So far in this series, only 2 attacks have been won.
Yeah.
One on each team.
The first round of both halves, by the way.
Yes. Man, Antic ought to do something good here. Like, if I'm in Antic's shoes right now, what do you think?
This is where you get out the blitz rush. This is what I would do. This is
No
what This is what my
no
rank
way.
stack would do. You're just like, guys, we kind of suck. Let's just cheese RNG it and see what happens. I'm kind of capping when I say that. But,
Okay, so
what are they playing at?
You know, 1 hard breach only
5 seconds left.
on
Okay.
Juicy. Buck on Frixel and Capital. This makes me think. I don't think I have any thoughts. I have no idea.
What are they cooking at here? Because they've, like you said, Capital. They've also got nades here on the Finker, so a lot of zoning, like a lot of ability to flush out key positions, which I don't know could net an opening pick.
Okay, here are my thoughts, right? Getting walls open is going to be really slow. If you're Antic, you only got Maverick, right? There's not a lot of stuff going on there. They don't have secondary hard breach either. So their focus here needs to be getting players to capitalize on the ground floor instead. That's probably where they've got Frixel at the moment. I don't know if Logic's going to follow in after that. Nevertheless, someone needs to support Juicy, so there are 2 players here, and the rest of them either need to be capitalizing on the ground floor or inside a garage at this point, which is what it looks like they're shaping up to do. But to be honest, I have no idea. Just going to keep waiting to see how the round plays out.
Well, I think with this util, with the lack of hard breach, we may see Antic completely ignore... Hang on a second. Juicy's going big. Killerman's found one from the rafters. Juicy finds his entry as well. But it is a 3 versus 3, and the diffuser is cold outside on the ground. There's nobody on site here for Circular Spheres, but Juicy might have missed his opportunity. Physics. That diffuser safely in his clutches. And coming back onto site is Goofed. He's found a pick. The C4 could be big. It's massive. Killerman in his 1 versus 3. 16 kills to the game. He'll have to make it 19. There's another one for him. But he knows full well these CS players are camping that diffuser. And just have a look at that crossfire. How on earth can you win this one? LMG in hand. He's going to have to nail both of these kills. He finds nothing. Circular Spheres from 6-1 down. They've stolen the game from Antic. They've stolen the show. And Antic are shut down.
And an insurmountable comeback as well from Circular Spheres to be able to close this one out against Antic. Antic absolutely down in the dumps on their attacking half, just like Circular Spheres is. We said it right in the start of the round swap. Circular Spheres had to do just as well as Antic did to bring that one back, and they did even better.
They were streets ahead and they couldn't lock it in. Where do you sit now for Antic? After gunning for 2nd place in the stage, you might have that technically at one point, but certainly not anymore. Circular Spheres have fired up. It's quite a far cry from going 0-14 in your first 2 games, and I can't wait to hear what Rob and the boys can say about that game on the desk.
Well, that may just be the greatest 6-1 comeback we've seen on Labs in the last... Oh, wait. Have we read that before? I feel like we've seen that before, Gus.
I'm pretty sure that one was an 8-6 at an SI Grand Final. So
I don't know how Blaga does this.
I don't know. I don't think that... What are you doing?
I think I'm just playing with my handboard.
Well, how are you bored after that game? What do you mean?
Honestly, Logic bored me. What was that?
Ooh.
Also, plagiarism much?
I know. They're trying to steal the sting out of your boys' cast. They're just giving it to Devin Mandy. They're throwing him a bone. They're saying, here, you guys can have the cast instead.
What a shocking game of Siege, though. I mean, as Fresh himself would say, it's honking, but it's fun.
It was fun.
The entertainment was through the roof.
Yes.
But how are you losing from 6-1 up? For Antic's sake, that is just abysmal.
Well, there's 2 massive things that this does. Antic cannot finish 2nd.
Nope.
Done. They're done. They're out of the race for 2nd.
Don't deserve it.
So anywhere between 3 and 6th now. I don't really know the permutations there, but you know they will not finish in the top 2, which means they're going to have to go through to the quarterfinals. And with that win for Circular Spheres, that now puts them on 9 points, which is above Panic and 6 targets. So they're not necessarily clear, but Panic now go and verse Bliss. So essentially, they're safe as houses. I mean, if ever you were going to put your money on something, the fact that Circular Spheres have won that in overtime. 2 points has now all but secured them for playoffs. Really, really solid game from them. But how might... I'm speechless, guys. I'm absolutely speechless.
Yeah, and it's not even one of those instances where we're going to a map or the bands play out in such a fashion where we're sitting there 5-1 and we're like, okay, let's just hold our horses, let's wait and see. It was Nighthaven Labs, not too many spanners being thrown out. 5-1 lead should be more than enough to secure the match. And the thing we were discussing, oddly enough, as it went on, was not so much OT being a prospect, but what they were going to win by, because it then left the door ajar for maybe 6 targets to lose, and then round differential would be important. That door's been slammed shut and 6 targets now under a bit of pressure. The fact that the match got brought back was really just insane. And we keep talking about Antic and their mental component and their consistency, and today was a big red flag.
Certainly was, but the beautiful thing about these games is we always get to hear direct from the player. Let's welcome in the #1 Shan fan. Let's welcome in the most emotional guy we've ever met in OCE. Jack Hanna, a very, very tight match in the end. You were 5-1 down first half, then go 6-1 down. What's going through the thought process? What's going through the comms? Because you guys did not look very happy at that point.
Oh, the comms was to win a few rounds, because if not, we couldn't make playoffs. So after every round loss, we were like, oh, can we win a round so we can play playoffs tomorrow? That was pretty much the mindset.
Jakey boy, what a game. Yeah, a very fascinating one. Nighthaven Labs defense can sometimes be a very strong beast, as evident in that match and the SI Grand Final. That was actually exactly the same script. I don't know if you were aware of that as it was playing out, but what was the difference maker as you got to the end of that game? I felt like you guys got control of the game. I think Antic looked maybe chalked mentally. Did you feel that inside of the server?
It's a tough question because I don't know what their mental looks like, but they controlled the early round really well. Like, I was getting cleared so easily and I was pretty much trolling on defense, but my team just locked it up in the late round, and I think that's where they struggled the most. I mean, if we go back and look at that, the amount of like rounds we just should not have won at all and won because we closed down the late round is, I don't know if it's good for us or bad for them. We'll find out.
Maybe a bit of both.
Definitely a bit of both.
On the team, Jake, we mentioned Goofed quite a bit in the pre-show. He's obviously been a phenomenal player. A bit of a slow start today, but then he came into his own. Was that something you noticed during the match, or was it just one of those cases where he got off to a bit of a slow start?
I don't know. Chris and I were both like yelling at each other like, oh, if one of us starts shooting, it's over for them. Because, yeah, we've been playing a pretty decent stage, the two of us, and we just could not kill anyone today. I don't know what went wrong, but the rest of the team stepped up and got the W.
I think going into the playoffs, you guys are a bit of a threat. Yeah, best of threes. As a team, you've been together for quite some time now. Do you feel the same sentiment?
I agree that we're better in best of threes purely for mental. We can easily pull back rounds compared to these other OCE teams, so I think that's our strength, to be honest.
Jake Henner, it's a scary match to watch, considering the permutations that if you lose that, you then are waiting on a result from 6 targets to really solidify your future. But now you've solidified it yourself. It's all but secured that you're in playoffs. Obviously, there's still permutations where you do not make it through. But obviously, a big kudos after the start of the stage. You had a lot of questions asked about you. And look, you boys have answered and answered firmly. Is there anything you'd like to say before we let you go now?
I have to ask, did you guys like our fake site in OT?
Was that the one where you reinforced every other wall?
The plan was we were going to go basement, and we ran all the way to top floor to fake the site.
Okay, there you go, because Dev and Mandy were trying to figure out what was going on. They thought you were trolling, but that makes sense.
I mean, trolling is a good word you could use for it. We definitely were trolling, but we thought it was hilarious ourselves. And then winning the round by pure accident because they knew as well, so that was great.
Oh, God, there's just certain things.
And, of course, shout out Shan and shout out Paul.
Yeah, Paul.
Oh, who's Paul?
Big Paul.
Is that Shan's boyfriend?
Oh, I can't disclose who Paul is.
Oh, well, go back and celebrate with the team, mate. Enjoy the rest of the night, and let's hope we see you in playoffs.
Hopefully.
Special. special men here on the OCE League. Paul included now. He's now one of those special men.
Do you know the Paul Law?
No, I don't know who Paul is, no.
We'll have to, I feel like that's just going to be a mystery that gets unraveled slowly over time.
It will. It will. I'll find out. I'll find out. I'll do the research behind the scenes. Circular Spheres with an 8-7 victory over Antic. Now leave more questions to be answered for Antic, Xenox. It's a somber moment for them coming into this stage. They had everything they needed, and it's just not really been proven.
Everything and more. Frixel even had a warm-up game last night against Mr. Guz. Apparently, it did anything but warm him up because 6-11 for such a top player. 0-1 on the entry. 40% cost. Just couldn't get anything going here on Labs. And look, the rest of them were pretty much fine. 6-1 up. They had a great half. Defensively, they were sound, but at the end of the day, they couldn't close. And Jay Kenner himself said it best.
Sometimes the goats do. Sometimes the goats just know how to say it, don't they?
They do.
It's
also, you know, you look at some of those numbers. Juicy did his part. Thought Killerman had a good game. Even towards the end of those rounds, he was very influential. Yep. Logic would be disappointed. Frixel would be disappointed that they allowed this to happen. Big game from Circular Spheres across the board. But in terms of the MVP, could only be one. It was Mr. JP himself, 14-9. But I kind of look at this more as a team MVP.
Yeah, I mean, Japer did a good job. I still think that today Antic got dealt an easier hand from Circular Spheres. Goof did not perform anywhere near his expected EPS. We saw Jay Kenner, and he even mentioned it, and the entry stat reflected it. He was struggling to win his fights as well. And despite those 2 huge win conditions for Circular Spheres not connecting tonight, they were still able to get this result across the line. They were able to just grind away at rounds. I think the mental component for this match, honestly, was the biggest deal maker. Deal maker, difference maker, whatever it was.
Deal breaker.
Deal maker, breaker.
Deal breaker for Antic.
Well, the fact of the matter is, Antic have secured playoffs. Circular Spheres nearly got there.
Row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 merrily. Don't forget to find a new team, Logic.
And come back after the break to watch KK and Odium. Bye.